Hey, I promise you I'll tell you this story while I still have time. Back when I was a ROTC cadet at Cornell University, I spent 4 years, got my commission, spent 1 year post-grad doing nothing but helping ROTC and learn as much as I can about the Vietnam War. I grilled, interviewed every sergeant that taught us, every officer that taught us, including the colonel, who was a good friend of my father, because we lived in Ithaca, New York, home of Cornell. So I spent 5 years preparing. I got my orders to active duty June 1970 to Fort Benning, Georgia. And then I began 1 year of internship. I was a training officer. I knocked myself, I did my very best to be the best training officer. And I nonstop grilled every sergeant who'd been in Vietnam. We sat down over many drinks, beers, and the young officers, because I wanted their experience. So after 1 year active duty, I finally got my orders to Vietnam, because I made it clear I wanted to go. And that was mid-May 1971. But all the officers and sergeants in Fort Campbell, they all heard the scuttlebutt. The war was being dramatically downsized. I remember getting sarcastic comments from my sergeant. "Good luck on going." I said, "I got my orders. We're going June 12th to Charleston to Fort Sherman, Georgia for Panama Canal for jungle training for I think 2 weeks, and then straight to Vietnam." I was happy. So when they sent me home for 10-day leave, my major gave me an order. So I've seen the pictures, I've been hearing a lot about your fiancée. I was engaged. Said your orders are to go home, marry her, and have a good honeymoon. We had a great, fabulous wedding in the Signal Corps base in New Jersey, home of the U.S. Army Signal Corps. I just went blank on the fort. If anybody's been in the Army and Signal Corps like Mike Roman knows all about this fort. Great military wedding, had fabulous honeymoon in Bermuda, checked back in, and within 2 days, let the major know I'm all set to go. Because I was scared. I heard all these rumors about not going. So I had to be there. We all had to be there by bus in June 12th. On June 9th, 3 days before, he called us all in. Said, "You're not going." I said, "I just spent 6 years of my life, 6 years, 4 of RTC, 1 post-grad where I volunteered for the RTC battalion, 1 year of interviewing every sergeant who'd been to Vietnam, every officer who'd been to Vietnam. What am I doing with all this knowledge? I've read the books. I've read the history of Vietnam. I'm ready." Said, "Thank you for volunteering. Your job is to be in Fort Campbell, train the troops. We got a special assignment for you. 2 special assignments." Wow. So I called my wife and said, "We're not going." And she had bittersweet memories, of course. Hey, you're not going. Although she knew I was disappointed. So I moved it back to Fort Campbell during that summer. We had beautiful officers housing, right on the golf course, and I carried out my 2 special assignments, and one of which I'll document and give to Bob. Because it was the highest achievement in my 2 years. It was my highest achievement. So I have the colonel's commendation that I will share with Bob. Anyway, I spent my last 9 months in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, doing advanced land navigation to train our troops and to process the entire Rick White's 173rd Airborne Brigade, a nasty bunch of guys who were the first unit to be sent to Vietnam in 1965. So there I was in charge the entire air base in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, to process the entire division back to Vietnam, back home. Key experience. These guys got off the plane exhausted, hadn't slept, bored, out of their minds, couldn't wait to land, mud still on their boots. They saw me, this shiny new first lieutenant, gave me a little salute. Hey, sir, where the fuck are the phones? I had a whole bank of phones, free phones, everything, a buffet, everything I could think of. These troops have survived Vietnam. My second airplane load came, they're coming back to back. So the first one went smoothly. Second guy, the guy leading down the stairs is the sergeant major. Walked to me and goes, "Are you in charge?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Good. Because see all those dogs, these drug-sniffing dogs? You are responsible to get rid of them." I said, "What?" "These are specially trained dogs." Now, the sergeant major said to me, "You think these guys just blew, 8,000 miles from Vietnam jungle to be busted by a joint in their pocket? Get rid of them." Done. Over great resistance, I got rid of them. I'm not going to tell you how, but those dogs never showed up again. So in the process of weeks, this went on. I got every last soldier home and happy. Got them on buses, Greyhound buses, well-fed, fresh unis, everything. And that was it. Mission accomplished. Went back to my advanced land navigation team, special committee of brainiacs to work on these land navigation projects for the maneuvers these guys are going to go out on is infantry trainees. February, they again cut me, said, "You've done your duty. We have no more jobs for you. Go home and be with your wife." So I'd never served 2 full years, which I'm ashamed of, because I was a reserve officer. All the reserve officers got the orders canceled. If I was a regular commissioned Air Force or Army guy, it's 4 full years. So all the regular Army guys got to go to Vietnam. One is a good friend of mine who never came back. So that's my story, Bob. 6 years of my life. But a happy wife is a happy life. Goodbye, Bob.